Welcome to Round Glass. Thanks for joining me in this meditation on clarity and intention for visualization. I'm Sarah Blackburn. So, we have been looking at some amazing ways to improve our visualization as we meditate, and we've been highlighting some different techniques. So, in this session, we're going to look at two specific techniques called clarity and intensity. Then we'll talk about the benefits of having these two skills in meditation and how they can spill over into our everyday lives and have a really positive impact. But before we get into it, I would love to hear from you. So, what would you like to have more of in your life? And are you ready to begin to visualize it? If you have any thoughts on that, please add that in the chat. And while you're doing that, I'll just quickly review the plan for this particular session. We are going to look at ways to improve our power to visualize in meditation. And like I mentioned, we'll work with two specific techniques, but that are specifically aimed to battle a meditation obstacle that you may have heard of called dullness. Then we'll put those techniques into practice using a traditional Buddhist visualization. At the end of the meditation, we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers, and then we'll continue to build upon this meditation as we look at this whole practice of visualizing. So, I want to thank everyone who shared in the chat, and I want to look at some of the things you said you'd like to visualize. So, someone shared that they'd like more energy. Awesome. Yeah, I totally identify with you. And we'll even talk about how to use energy in our meditation. So we'll definitely work on that. And then we've got someone else who shared more self care. Yeah, that's a great one to be aware of. And we can definitely use the power of visualization to help us with that idea of self care. Another person shared less anxiety and more peace. Yeah, I definitely identify with that. Thanks for sharing. And then also a less cluttered life. Absolutely. And we can imagine what that would look like and use our meditation to clear away some things. So, thanks so much, everyone who shared. It's so nice to hear what you're thinking and how you apply these to your life. So, I really appreciate that. So, we've been talking about visualizing, and where I want to first start with that idea that when we say you see something in your mind in meditation, we're actually referring to the mind's eye. So it's not seeing something with your eyeball, but instead using our mind, almost in the way we remember the color of our bedroom walls. Or if I ask you to think about what you had for lunch, there's probably a picture that comes up in your mind. That's what we're referring to when we say visualization. And before we go deep into clarity and intensity, I want to discuss this idea of dullness that I mentioned, because clarity and intensity are meant to actually fight dullness. So, dullness is this nasty thing that happens to all meditators as they start to work with their mind. And you may have heard it in relationship to agitation. So when we sit down to meditate, either the mind goes to an agitated place where our thoughts are racing, we're bouncing around from thinking about this thing and that thing and the other. And once we start to calm that down, slow the mind down, this other obstacle will creep in called dullness. And that is when we feel sleepy, heavy. There's a fogginess in our mind that is sort of the counter of agitation. And that's where clarity and intensity come in. They're here to battle dullness. And first, we'll start with clarity. So, I want to be clear that when we talk about clarity, it's actually not what you might think. It isn't making the lines and the shapes and the colors of whatever we're visualizing more clear, even though it might seem that way. What we're referring to when we talk about clarity in regards to meditation is actually a state of mind that is holding that object of meditation. So you can think of it as the container, the awareness being bright and alert. It's like how bright-eyed and bushy-tailed is your meditation. That's clarity. And then an intensity does refer to that object of meditation, the thing that we are actually focusing our mind on. So with intensity, that is talking about how tightly we hold the object. It's like a metaphor, a metaphor that can be helpful is when you hold a cup with clarity, you might be holding it loosely. But if you have intensity, you will be holding that cup firmly with the right amount of grip, like not too tight and not too loose. Okay, so I hope that that's helpful. I'm going to guide you through these two techniques as we meditate on them. And you'll hopefully get a sense of them experientially as we go through this traditional meditation that meditators have been doing for many, many years. All right, so let's begin. Get yourself set up in a position where you can meditate comfortably for the next 12 or so minutes. That usually means that your back is nice and alert, that you're relaxed, your shoulders and the lower half of your body is nice and settled. And then you can either let your eyes fall closed or lower your gaze and begin to withdraw from the outer stimuli of your usual day and the things you see and hear, and bring that awareness and attention inward. And focus on any lingering tension in the body. So if you notice gripping or clenching, see if you can release. A lot of times, just being aware can help soften the tight areas of the body. And then root down through your sit bones and tailbone. It's nice to imagine a string pulling the very tip of your spine to the center of the earth, and simultaneously pulling the crown of your head up to the sky. And then maybe you pull in your lower belly just slightly so the lower back can relax. Let your shoulders melt down your back. And then relax your forehead and eyelids. Soften your jaw. And then collect your mind around the sensations of breath moving in and out of your body. And make your inhale and exhale the most important thing right now. You can reassure any thoughts or sensations that want to hijack your attention. Reassure them you will deal with them at the end of the meditation. For now, your priority is your breath. And then remember your reason for meditating right now. What do you hope this practice can do for you? And what if this were the very meditation when you understood something you hadn't before? What if this session is the meditation that changed your life? If at any point in the practice it gets difficult, you can come back to this reason for meditating, and it will carry you through the meditation. Now we'll begin the practice of visualizing. So imagine your ideal meditation location. If you could sit in perfect quietude, be in the most peaceful surroundings, what would that location look like? Begin to picture this ideal meditation spot in your mind, and then see yourself sitting in this perfect environment. See if you can picture the plant life, the lighting, Try and get a sense of the temperature, the quality of the air as it brushes with your skin. And then start to think about someone who deeply inspires you. Who is someone that acts as a mentor in your life? It can be someone you know personally, a friend or a colleague, or perhaps someone you've never met, the author of a book or a public figure. And whoever comes to mind first is just perfect. And then invite this mentor to come and meditate with you in your perfect meditation location. As you call out to them from your heart to join you, see them start to appear in front of you. They are mirroring your physical posture. They're facing you, and they're close enough that you can make out the details of their face and their clothing. You can sense the kindness radiating from their skin. And you see a smile on their face. They are thrilled to be with you today, meditating together. And then bring to mind the idea of clarity. Think of turning up the volume on your mental energy, the vibrancy around this being, the mental space, the container in which you hold this sacred meditation spot and this incredible mentor of yours. Notice your state of mind and bring a vividness to it. Allow the mind to be relaxed but alert. Now, from a place of clarity, let's begin to sharpen the intensity. So notice if your mind is bouncing around, and start to reel it in. And focus on this person you've invited to meditate with you. Let your mind really hold steady on one aspect of them. Perhaps their eyes, their smile, their entire face. Or maybe it's the feeling you have while you're in their presence. And then turn the knob of your intensity to be more fixated on this person. See if you can notice more detail. Really zoom in. And then begin to let go of the intensity. Soften your fixation. And relax out of the clarity. And quickly thank this person for joining you in your meditation. Know that you can call upon them at any moment to join you in your mind and offer any advice or help that they might have for you. And now reconnect to the present moment. Notice the environment you are in right here, right now. Feel your body breathing, and gently guide yourself out of the meditation. Move your body and open your eyes when you're ready. All right. So Nice work. And now that we've practiced these different aspects of meditation in regards to visualization, I hope you'll try it. It can really improve your practice, and we'll talk about how that'll also spill over into your everyday life. So, we still have a few minutes for any questions or comments, concerns that may have come up during that practice or around the ideas we were talking about. Please share those in the chat now. And then while you do that, I wanted to talk a little bit about how these two ideas, clarity and intensity, have trickled into my everyday life. I've really seen them manifest in the form of bringing more vividness to my everyday experience. With clarity, with clarity in a meditation, your mind begins to habituate in alertness, and you come out of the meditation being more aware, and your world appearing more vibrant and clear. I've noticed that when I'm meditating consistently, and I'm really working hard to improve the practice, the times when I'm not meditating feel brighter and more clear. And the same goes with intensity. It has this beautiful power of strengthening our focus so that we can get things done, be more present, and be able to decide what we're going to think about. Which, again, when I'm not meditating frequently or when things are not as solid in my meditation, I see that start to waver in my everyday life. Yeah. And I also wanted to address some of your questions. I see that someone asked, how can I quiet my racing mind when I practice visualization? Awesome question. So there's a couple things. I'll say that what I find to be the fastest way to calm it down, and also the most gentle, loving way, which is a nice thing to cultivate as we meditate, is that when you notice that racing mind, to be happy you noticed it, instead of doing the opposite of which is what most of us tend to do, which is we catch that the mind is racing, we feel, oh my gosh, my thoughts are all over the place, and then we tend to be really hard on ourselves. Like, I'm so bad at this, I can't do this, my mind is too busy. If you do the opposite and you say to yourself, oh wow, that's so awesome, I noticed my mind was racing. Now I'm going to gently and kindly bring it back to the visualization. You will start to reprogram your subconscious mind to enjoy that process of bringing the mind back to the visualization. Because here's the thing, when we're not meditating or when our mind is not trained, it is used to bouncing around from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, which is what we do in our everyday waking life. And when you start to meditate, you're trying to actually do the opposite. You're reining in those thoughts to think about one thing. And whatever the one thing is you're thinking about is called your object of meditation. And in that practice of noticing the mind wanders and bringing it back, noticing it's over here, thinking about tomorrow's lunch, and bringing it back to the visualization or to the object of meditation, you build up a mental muscle to get better and better at eventually holding your thoughts to be one thing. And visualization is great for that because it's such a clear thing to think about, as opposed to the breath, which is great too, but sometimes can get a little boring, at least for me. Anyway, I hope that that's helpful. Thanks so much for asking the questions and meditating. That's all we have time for in this session. I hope you found something in this practice that was helpful. And please visit my profile at round.glass to see previous sessions and when I'll be going live next. Thanks so much and see you next time.